What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of feeding our babies from the first 0 day of life to 24 months of life. And in this video, I'm talking about complementary feeding, which is the feeding of our baby from 6 months to life to 24 months of life. If you're new to this channel, kindly subscribe, give this video a thumbs up and share widely. And at the age of 6 months, breast milk is not sufficient enough to provide all the nutrients and the energy that your baby requires for the period from 6 months. So apart from continuing breastfeeding your baby, you also required to introduce other foods or liquid to supplement breast milk. This is what we term as complementary feeding. So when should we start introducing complementary feeds to our baby or other feeds or foods to our baby? We choose 6 months because at this period, the neurological system of the baby is fully developed. They can chew well, they can swallow well, the digestive system is fully developed and it is mature enough to handle other foods. And also the babies are not at risk of choking. Also the excretive system of the baby, the kidneys are also fully developed, so the baby's waste can be excreted as comfortably as possible. So we choose 6 months for this reason. Introducing other feeds to your baby is very important because, as we have stated, breast milk is not sufficient enough to provide all the nutrients. For example, for the first 1 year of the baby's life, breast milk will only supply a half of the baby's nutrient requirements. And for 18 months, it's going to supply a quarter, and for the next subsequent months, it's providing only a third. So introducing feeds as early as possible will help your baby to start developing the feeding patterns as early as possible. It will also enable your baby not to become underweight or stunted. So what should you not do before you start introducing feeds? One thing I will say, do not introduce other feeds before 6 months of life of the baby, for them to benefit from the breast milk as we have talked earlier. Start introducing other feeds when the baby is at 6 months. So what should be guiding us when we are introducing other foods apart from breast milk to our babies? One of the things you should be considering is hygiene and sanitation. And here we are looking at the personal hygiene, the environment, and everything that you're going to use to make the baby's foods. First of all, ensure that you personally are very hygienic, you have showered, and also wash your baby. Another thing, wash your hands with soap or ash and clean water if possible before preparing the baby's food or after changing the baby's diaper or after coming from the toilet. Hygiene is very important because it will help us prevent illnesses like diarrhea or other stubborn illnesses around the environment. So be clean. Another thing you should be considering is frequency. How frequent are you feeding your baby? For the babies that are 6 months, when you're starting to introduce feeds, we encourage feed your baby 2 times per day. Continue breastfeeding at least 8 times per day. And for those that are 7 to 8 months, you will be breastfeeding, you will give the feeds 3 times per day. Others, subsequent years, 1 year to 2 years, you give other feeds 4 times, and 1 snack included or 2 snacks included as the baby grows. Another guiding principle should be the amount that you're going to give your baby. For those ones that are 6 months, when you're starting to give feeds, we encourage you to give 2 tablespoons to 3 tablespoons from the week 3 to the 4th week. And when they reach 7 to 8 months, you're going to give a half a cup or a half a bowl, depending on what you're using to feed your baby. For those ones that are 1 year and above, you're going to use 3/4 a cup to 1 cup. Also depending on what you're going to use to feed your baby. So the amount increases as the baby ages. Another thing to consider is the variety, and for the 6 months, we encourage that you start with the staple foods like porridge, made from either corn, the wheat, the finger millets, or the rice. Also, the variety will also introduce other foods as also the baby is aging. But you start with the staple. You can give pureed banana, you can give porridge, you can also strain other foods that require to be strained. Another factor to consider is the thickness of the food that you're preparing. You should know that when you're preparing the food, it should be thick enough not to run off the spoon. It should not be so light. The final thing to consider is what we term as responsive feeding. And in this case, I'm talking about engaging your baby in feeding. Do not force the baby. Make the feeding time very friendly for your baby, for you to encourage them and for them to have appetite to feed. So thank you guys for joining me for this episode and keeping it locked for the whole period. And for those ones who have not subscribed, kindly I remind you, subscribe to this video, give this video a thumbs up, and share widely for all women to benefit and feed their babies and avoid undernutrition. Join me to another episode that I'll be bringing, feeding your baby from 7 months and subsequent months. And until another time, I have been your favorite nutritionist, Jemima Egesa. Mwah.